Hey, everyone. Welcome back to your 5 card weekly tarot reading. This week, make sure that you check out my podcast, which is called All the Things with the Magical Cartographers, and make sure to go check that out. And also, this week, Friday, will be the Wisdom and Woo that I do for, I like that little rhyme. Wisdom and Woo that I do for the full moon in Libra is happening on Friday. So make sure to check that out, me and my special guest. So come and see who that is and learn what we can be doing around this full moon in Libra coming up. So let's see what the cards would like for us to know this week. I'll give it one last little shuffle. Do it down there so it's not quite as noisy. All right, so let's get started with our spiritual connection for the week. And we've got the 5 of Cups. Next, for our health and happiness, we have the 3 of Cups. Okay, so we're going to be a little emotional internally this week. For our love and relationships, we've got the Ace of Pentacles. For our business and career, we've got the Ace of Wands. And for our overall card, we have the King of Swords. Okay. Interesting. So we'll start out with our spiritual connection card. And here we've got the 5 of Cups. Now, cups is our emotions, and fives are about change. Sometimes they can be about instability, which I think you see more of in this particular card in this deck. As it relates to connecting with spirit this week, I feel like what you haven't been able to hang on to, what you feel that has been a loss or that you haven't been great at, maybe spiritually, it feels like you're hanging on to a lot of that energy. You're focused more on what hasn't been great, what hasn't worked for you in the past. I feel like, especially if you were someone like myself who grew up in a very religious household or had a very religious upbringing, if there are things about that experience that has been holding you back, has been preventing you from connecting spiritually, not related to religion necessarily, but spiritually, it's time to really let that go, to stop focusing on what you've lost or what didn't work out well, and see the connection that you have still, that you have beyond that experience. Because regardless of what religion or faith you were raised as, or you always kind of associated with, there is a spiritual connection intuitively that you have beyond any one particular religion. And I think it's going to be really important for you this week to really focus on that. Focus on what you can wrap your arms around, what you can hang on to, what you know to be true about your connection to spirit this week. Okay. And then for our health and happiness, we're going to move on to the 3 of Cups. And, threes normally are about groups, about, doing things in collaboration with folks. Sometimes it can be about kind of the first time that you are reaching some success in what you've been striving towards. And then again, cups are emotions. So this week it feels like maybe you've spent a lot of energy either celebrating some initial success that you've had with finding some happiness, finding perhaps some joy in your life, or maybe you started working out and it's been feeling good, and you're kind of in this space where there's a transition happening, where either you've been feeling really good and now it feels not as good because you're used to that feeling good, and it's almost like you're missing that next push of joy, of happiness, of endorphins if you've been working out or doing something really pleasurable. And it feels like you're trying to get back to that first kind of high, that first endorphin high that you got from that joy. And maybe you're not feeling it as much. Maybe you have really been trying hard to get back to that feeling, and know that as you get more and more comfortable and used to feeling good, it's not going to have that same peak, that same high that you got initially, right? You can't go back to that. But that doesn't mean that it isn't still good, that it isn't still working. You need to get into a way to build some support around that feeling good. Build some normalcy in, like, yes, this doesn't feel like super high when I first fell in love, let's say, but it does feel amazing. Why do I think that it's supposed to feel like something else? It doesn't need to, right? So keep that in mind when you think about your health and happiness. The happiness that you have found is amazing. Don't try to minimize it this week. Okay, so let's move to the external stuff, and let's move to the Ace of Pentacles that we have here in our love and relationships. And so aces are the beginnings. They are kind of that first step, that first opportunity. So maybe there are some new opportunities for love in your life. Maybe there's a new relationship. Maybe there's some newfound interest in an old relationship. This week, when you think about love and you think about relationships that you have with people, think about, it's kind of the reverse that I said from the Three of Cups. I want you to focus on that beginning, that initial phase, right? Remember when something was new and the joy that came from having that joy and happiness all to yourself. You know, Pentacles is about stability, is about home. And so think about what would bring you the most joy, happiness, love at home. What would that look like? And don't be afraid to try some new things. Again, if you're not in a new relationship or in a space where you're looking for a new relationship, what are some new thoughts that come into your head that just feel like, ooh, I can love myself in this way at home? If it's about your relationships, think about what new spark you can bring. Think about what it was that got you together in the beginning, and see what you can do to bring that little bit of spark and energy back to a place where it feels really comfortable. And let's move on to the Ace of Wands. We got another ace here in our business and career. This Ace of Wands is about taking some new actions. Again, aces being the beginning, starting things off, wands being that suit of action. We are still in this Aries energy, and so Aries is wands. It's fire, it's movement, it's trying something new. And even though this particular ace is in wands, right around actions, this card always very much makes me think of new inspirations and taking action on new ideas, new thoughts, new concepts in your business, or along your career path. You know, what is something that has been maybe popping into your head? Have there been little inspirations, little ideas that have been coming in about how you can make things better or easier or smoother or more efficient or just better, right, for your business or for your organization? Start taking some little small actions towards making that happen. Maybe sharing that with someone, and having conversations around what that might look like to start something a little bit new or a little bit different. All right, last but not least, we will move on to our overall card, which we have here, the King of Swords. As you're kind of thinking back and forth about your relationships, your source of happiness, how to start to move forward, think about how you can let that be known to other people, right? How you can use the experiences that you've had in your relationships, emotionally, the good and the bad, the new ideas that are coming up for you, the new actions that you want to be taking. How can you really share that? How can you use that as a leader, right, in your life and for others? How can you stand strong in that and show people like this is where I've been, this is what I've done, this is how I'm able to move forward. Okay? And really being that example, that strong example for those around you to let people know that, this new beginning that we're all starting here in Aries, you can get through it, right? It might be challenging right now, but here, let me show you. Let me let you know how I made it through and where I am today. And that doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you have to have all the answers, but you have experience, you have knowledge. Don't be afraid to share that with other people because people need to know, right? So I hope that was helpful for you. Let me know how things go this week. Make sure, again, you check me out Tuesday and Friday for all the things with the magical cartographers. And then again for Wisdom and Woo as we talk about the full moon in Libra on Friday. All right. Stay magical, y'all.